Hello, my name's Danielle Koala. Tonight I am going to discuss Native Americans. Native Americans are the ancestors of our land, and going back to the basics of living may show us things that we take for granted in our everyday lives. A couple weeks ago, I went to a historical museum, and they had a whole floor dedicated to Indians, Native Americans. Things I found fascinating was they made their own clothing, shoes, jewelry, and they hunted for their own food. And out of that food, the hides from the animals is what they made their clothing, shoes, and jewelry from. Many years ago, there was no such thing as tablets or internets or cell phones. There was no distractions. They had to be a family and have that communication and just the family bond that um, the internet and social media has taken away from us. Um, so Native Americans, they did not have the luxury of just being able to go to the store and buy whatever kind of food they wanted. They actually had to go out and hunt for it and kill, skin the animals, and cook the animals. Um, some of the foods that they ate besides animals was lots of fruits and vegetables. There was cactus fruit, pine nuts, um, just depending on where they lived. Um, it depended on what they ate. Um, so with the hides from the animals, they would make clothing. So women were primarily the seamstresses of the tribes. They would prepare the skins that would be used to make clothing. They dried out the hides and made clothing and jewelry out of them. Many of the decorations that the women used were significant symbols of statue and power. Among the clothing, there was beadwork. Um, the beadwork that they did showed like which different tribes they were from. When making the clothing, not one piece of the animal would go to waste. So the quills from porcupines, they were incorporated into the clothing as well somehow. Struggling for food, clothing, and to live day by day is not only a struggle among the Native Americans, but among many people around us, and you may not even know. Now that I've discussed the struggles, let's talk about the roles family members play. There are many roles that the family members play. The men knew that the women were the source of life and provided a feeling of strength and consistency to their lives. The women would help hunt. Um, they would have the responsibility to skin the animal, cut up the animal, and then cooking it. The women also would make tools and weapons out of the animal bones. American tribes believed that the women had healing power and were able to soothe ill souls. They did not just take care of the family, they gathered supplies to build homes, make sure everyone was fed, made clothing and jewelry, and played many other roles. The fathers and the sons were the protectors. They gathered firewood. Um, they helped gather supplies to build their huts, um, along with the women. Um, they went out and they hunted and they killed the animals. And after they killed the animals, the women would do the skinning and cooking of the animals. Daughters, they learned from their moms how to be productive women in their society. So they learned how to cook and build homes, make clothing, um, all the essentials needed to live, basically, to survive. So, discussing the roles of the family members that the family members played, we can go into how they all came together to fight the struggle of keeping their land and keeping their families together. When the white people discovered America, they did not plan on there being other people living on the land. These new people, or white people, intruded on the Native Americans' land, claiming it to be their own. The Native Americans had to fight to keep their land, but eventually were overcome. Um, the Native Americans had to fight to keep what was theirs from being taken. European settlers believed that owning land made them wealthy. In order to get more Europeans to come to America, the Europeans would offer up free land, um, so that anyone would just come to America. The Native Americans believed that no one could own the land, but they could use the land. What role do the Native Americans play in today's society? There are many things that the Native Americans did before we did. Many of the games we play come from Native Americans. Um, they did a lot of gardening and producing fruits and vegetables. There are many things that we do and may not even notice, but they did it before us. So when writing this speech, I became very informed with what the Native Americans have been through. It gives great meaning and appreciation to the things or luxuries we have these days. It makes me value my family and appreciate the things my parents did for me, my ancestors, and the struggle they went through to make sure I had the things that I needed, and the struggle now to provide for my family. I think back and compare um, modern day to then, and um, just seeing what they went through and what we're going through now. Um, Things were harder on them, but I think they are actually more hard for us because we have the distraction of the internet and just not as much family time. The Native Americans spent a lot of time together with their family and doing things, um, and just being close. Thank you for listening.